Hello, my name is Adriana Garza-Louzada, and I'm an aspiring author. I'm here today to talk about the inspirations in my debut novel, In Her Name. I think one of the biggest inspirations for me was Dungeon Siege 2. I started playing this game when I was younger. My dad had introduced me to it, and from then on, I had just fallen in love, and to this day, I will still play it. It had amazing worlds that I felt like I could just really lose myself within, and the characters were both well fleshed out, but it was never something that was outwardly presented to you. You almost had to work to get it, and it made it truly feel like you were just traveling with a band of misfits that you happened to collect, and you were still learning about them as you traveled together. The game both made you feel like you had known them for a lifetime and would remind you that you had barely known them at all. It was something that I really enjoyed with the character building, and it always gave me a reason to play the game and switch out who I had in my party and when. And the world that you would explore was absolutely amazing. I, to this day, would give anything to just have a hammock and a book in the Vilutra forest. And I can still quote the Vikesh. I feel like there were so many little aspects of that game that just boiled together to make this almost seemingly endless overworld, despite the fact that the game was played quite linearly. There were always hidden areas, there were always secrets to find, there were always books to read, and there were always people to talk to and get to know. And everything felt overall interconnected. I think one of the first examples of true interconnected quest lines and stories that I had ever seen was Lilani's Sorrow, where you have to travel the entirety of the game trading items between people and collecting bits and pieces of their story just to finish this singular quest that you get relatively early on in the game. And each person you meet has their own thing going on. You need to get this guy water, you need to get this guy meat, you need to get this person something to boost their morale, you need to give this person something to live towards, all the while working towards bringing Lilani something to remind her of her daughter. In these weird little minute ways, you get to see the inner workings of the world in a way that you normally would not have outside of the fact that you are this world's chosen adventurer. On top of that, the conflict that you're presented with is something I feel like a lot of people could relate to. You are traveling across this world looking for a way to fix the wrongs you've put out. You are looking for a way to help the people around you that you have simultaneously hurt with your actions, and you're seeking ways to fix it and how you can make their lives better. Morrowind also had a really big hand whenever it came to me crafting the story because of the world building. There was so much that you could really see put into the world around Morrowind. It felt like no matter how far out in the woods you went, there was something to find, something hidden, some form of environmental storytelling, and sometimes open ended questions. And I felt like it really made the world feel fleshed out and loved. Morrowind was another game that I feel had a huge part in the world building. There was just so much fleshed out with the game, and it felt like every nook and cranny was filled with something for you to find. There were so many things that you could just happen upon that it truly feels like the developers just had eyes across the entire map. There was really nowhere where you were finding just nothing. There was always something, even if small, to reward you for going out into the open world and exploring what was around you. Not to mention the creatures and just the general landscapes. The mushroom trees and the flying netches, I think, were things that just really captivated me at a young age. To think of these fantasy creatures, and the Guar were so goddamn cute, I could not get over it. And don't get me started on the scribs. Goodness, one of my friends told me they would kill them, and I cried. I love them. Just constant little details put into this world that make you feel like you've always been a part of it, and all of this is just normal occurrences. And once more, we get to that question of who would you be if you chose? In Morrowind, you really get to choose who your character was from the get go. You are the chosen one, but who the chosen one is completely up to you. You could be an asshole running the streets and robbing everyone blind, or you could be a good guy and seek out to defend those from any who would do them wrong. There were so many different ways to interact with the world, and it didn't really shy away from some of the nastier parts like slavery or general war or what you should do whenever you are the one that needs to fix this. And I think that overall message is what really drove me the most whenever it came to In Her Name. I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to anyone that Baldur's Gate 3 was also a huge inspiration for me. Initially, I wasn't going to play the game, but I ended up falling in love with it at a certain point. One of my friends really pushed that I should play it. I gave it a chance, and I do not regret it whatsoever. I cannot tell you how much fun I truly have in that game. The characters are what draw me the most. The playstyle is very similar and reminiscent of Dungeon Siege 2, which instantly hooked me. Like I played that first round, I went, "Oh, this is Dungeon Siege. I'm you did yeah, no, I'm done. I'm here. This is me. This is my personality for a ridiculous amount of time in the foreseeable future." And it is. It still is. Each character has something that really draws you into them and really builds them as an individual person. There are aspects of all of them that seem to come out just as little tiny breadcrumbs as time goes on and they start to trust you more and you show them who you are more. And eventually you have this bigger picture painted by the end of it all that just shows that deep down inside, all of them were hurt one way or another, whether it was Gale being broken up with by Mistra or Will having to deal with everything he deals with in every way, shape, or form. But each character kind of has their own thing where they are fighting the inevitable of their life and they are overcoming some deeper wound and finding a way to prove to themselves more than anything that they can deal with it. And I think that overall it is a very beautiful story. And no matter what way you take it, there are so many fun things to learn and process from it that it is truly worth playing no matter what you do. If I had to describe the plot of In Her Name for those of you who are new to all of this and are lacking a crumb of context, I would also describe it in the way of who do you choose to be when you have the choice to be it? And what are you really going to do when everything just feels inevitable? Nomira spends the past 2 years of her life wading through the human condition and grief just to come out on the other side to hear that a ancient evil is now lurking around the corner and making threats to her first and foremost. And she can either choose to do nothing and ignore it and hope that it is all okay and it won't get as bad as she knows it can, or she can fight and she can do something about it because she believes she can do something about it. I try to dive really heavily into aspects of the human condition that we all face, the wounds we all bear daily, and the little things that most of us may not even realize that we're taking for granted, in really showing how the individual choices of not just our own lives, but those around us can shape our futures for either the better or the worst. I don't know how to really hook you onto the story without spoiling the entirety of the plot, but you have at least 3 books. If you're really interested and you back the Kickstarter, you can start reading things like the prologue ahead of time. Otherwise, I think this is really all I have for you today, and I'm going to go enjoy editing this and probably going to have a heart attack by the end of it all. We'll see. Not just for yourself, but for all the people that you have hurted. I think it's not going to come as a surprise. Oh, birdie. Birdie. Oh, your baby. There's birds. There's birds at my bird feeders. I don't know if I can make that joke on YouTube. I was about to say